Cari fratelli e sorelle, and welcome to my weekly video blog. This last week has been Holy Week. It's been Passion Tide. We've just finished celebrating the great Paschal feast. I don't like calling it Easter because of its sort of pagan connections. Easter, the very name Easter is, well, it's supposed to be Ostra, in fact, but it's been sort of anglicised, I suppose. But it's a sort of equinox celebration, a pagan equinox celebration, really. All about sort of fertility and new life, etc. And that's one of the reasons that you know, the Paschal festival is at the same time. But mainly it's a nasty coincidence, really, because the Paschal festival is supposed to be around the same time as Passover, and Passover is in the spring, and so the fact that they're sort of at the same time is not as deliberate as some of the feasts that, you know, the Roman Catholic Church tried to replace in terms of overruling a pagan festival like Yuletide, for example, with Christmas. They just thought, well, it's a good idea to put something over it. They don't have any idea when Christ was actually born, so it was just as good a time as any, made it easier for the converts, etc., etc. But in terms of Easter, I don't actually blame them. I think it was more a case of it was just an accident, really. So, but I do try not to use the term too often. The problem is, of course, that not even many Christians use the term Paschal feast anymore, or Paschal Tide, or whatever. But there we are. So I've been celebrating that with my family, and of course, right after that comes the bank holiday, the first of hopefully several sofa days this year. So yeah. And then progress takes off, I suppose. We have been on a roller coaster this last couple of months. A lot has changed in the last year. Last year was a very hard year, and it was a really hard year. But this year, probably not so much. I think good things are on their way this year. I can't talk at the moment about a lot of those, but I do think good things are on their way. I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful that we're in the way of progress now, and I don't mean that in terms of being in the way. I mean actually being on the road of progress, so to speak. It's funny, isn't it, how you can say the same sentence and mean two entirely different things. In the way of progress, in terms of being swept along by progress like you would in a stream, rather than being a dam and blocking the way, so to speak. So if that helps explain a few things, then there we are. I am not one for karma, I have to admit. I don't think that the world is balanced. I don't think that the world was ever balanced or supposed to be balanced, not in terms of an equal balance between light and dark, because as far as I'm concerned, things are very much light rather than dark, although we tend to feel the darkness perhaps more here in the temporal realm. But there is no great darkness to equal the great light, so to speak. So, you know, I won't say that I'm all for being positive. I really am all for being positive. A positive mental attitude, and half of that is because being negative does no good. We've proven that. It does no good. It has the potential to make things worse, and I suppose I want to say the same about being positive. It has the potential to make things better. Will it automatically make things better? No. Just like worrying automatically won't make the worst outcome happen. But it can affect the result, I think. And so it's always better to try and aim for the result you want, isn't it? Anyway, those are a few sort of musing thoughts this bank holiday weekend. You know, it was supposed to rain. It was supposed to rain constantly, as often happens in England on a bank holiday, as often happens in England altogether right now. And we did have quite strong winds and showers that included hailstones at one point. However, these were these were blown across very, very quickly, so we haven't had anywhere near the amount of rain that that we should. I'm sorry, I am trying to find the birthdays as well. We haven't had nearly as bad a weekend weather-wise as we were supposed to have, and so quite possibly spring is here and things are going to get nicer weather-wise as well. A lot coming up, as I explained to you last week, in terms of extra projects around the house, with the garden, with walking, with visits, etc. So all that to look forward to. Meanwhile, this week there is quite a lot of birthdays to look forward to as well. So I had better get on and wish these people a very happy birthday. We've got Jake Ellenberger, Laura Jorgensen, Anthony Morrison, Ryan Scott Watson, Rob Crookston, Martin Hill, Pete Wood, Andy Murdoch, and the excellent Fiona Walker. Best wishes and many happy returns to all of them. I hope they eat lots of cake. Well, whatever diets they're planning on going on. And that is it for this week. Until next time.